that comment points to something in healthcare that we have to get to, and that's the transparency. There's a gentleman who serves on the committee with me, Tom Price. He's a medical doctor. He's a member from Georgia. And he spent a lot of time in this area. And there's 2 points that he advocates for, and then now I advocate for, learning and studying the issue is we need transparency and proper utilization of healthcare in America. And what you're touching on is a transparency issue. You may have seen the Times article, the recent Times Magazine article where they did this survey, and where one hospital charged $48,000 for a procedure, and then the other hospital paid $4,000 or charged $4,000 for it. That lack of transparency as to why was that allowed to occur, and the same thing happens on your EOB. When, we're going to submit a charge for $5,000, but we're going to get reimbursed $1,200. So the question then I always ask is, where's the other $3,800 they're coming from? Somebody's got to pick it up if it's $5,000, or is this a whole game? And I'll tell you, I talk to providers who are so sick and tired of, they just want to practice medicine. But then they're like, well, we have to do it this way because if we say it's $5,000 and we get $1,200, well, there's a good chance we're going to get, $2,000 because it looks like we're coming down from 5 to 2, and it's a game being played on it. As opposed to being transparent and saying, what are the charges? What do we cover? What don't we cover? And keep it simple. So that transparency gets a lot to simplicity, so people understand, this is what it costs. This is what you have to pay, and this is what we will pay. And there's a whole slew of reforms that we've been supportive of, pulling that, the anti-monopoly provisions that health insurance carriers and all that get. We need to get this all pulled back so people can talk to each other, so people can know what's going on.
But the reimbursement rate will be less, I'm assuming, the way they talk.
That's the prime tool they use to contain cost in DC right now, is to cut providers their reimbursement rates. And it's just an arbitrary, they'll say it's not, but in my opinion, it's an arbitrary saying, okay, you used to charge this, we're now going to say you get this. And then what it does is it incentivizes that gamemanship. Okay, well, you're going to cut me here, well, then I'm going to bill you for this service, or I'm going to bill you for that, and then try to recoup their losses. And that's a problem, and that's not a functioning system long term.
It doesn't encourage people to come back to
Especially when you cut reimbursement providers, and especially in a rural area. This is something we're very active in. Teaming up, again, from Conversations on the Other Side, Peter Welch from Vermont. He represents, obviously, a very rural state. And one of the things we're very sensitive to is our hospitals, in particular, in our district. And when you talk about what they call low-volume Medicare-dependent facilities, we have a lot of them in our district. And those are being jeopardized, those reimbursement rates. And what that means is that our rural healthcare is really put in harm's way. Because if you cut those reimbursement rates further, I can tell you, I've looked at a lot of the income and expense sheets for our hospitals in the district. They're operating off of a negative 1% margin. The only way they stay open is because of charity care, people making donations to the facilities. If you want good health care in a rural area, you can't go down this path. So we've been doing a lot of work in regards to providers. And it's a long-term issue. Rich, we'll go back over here.
Yes. I'm a retired Air Force officer, so I wanted to let you know about some experiences we had under the Carter years. And while I agree wholeheartedly that the government needs to spend less, where it cuts is important. In those days, we had hundreds of thousands of airmen on food stamps. We also had, to set up a pot in various squadrons or wings where the officers contributed to these pots that airmen and NCOs could borrow from, take from, basically, so they could pay essentials. And that was humiliating to those folks. They didn't need that. I don't want to see that again.
Well, I appreciate that. That is something I will take to heart and make sure that we don't go down that path again. You know, the harsh reality of $17 trillion of debt is we have to have the honest conversation as to what are our priorities in America. And that's a good conversation to have. And that's why one thing that I'm committed to is veterans and a veteran benefit. That's why we have Doc Schmidt's full-time, hard-time, doing full-time work 7 days a week. Making sure that vets who, my dad was 20 years Army. I mean, I was taught, all 12 of us were taught, you stand with the vets because they earned it. And that's what we'll continue to do. That needs to be the lowest on the list of potential conversations. When you talk about vets, that's the last of the last of the last that we get to when we have these conversations. To me, that's a high priority. Yep. Yeah.
I know, Mike, the issue I'm going to bring up, we're talking about veterans, I know you're federal, but this county, Chemung County, has not acted on the Cold War vet exception for property taxes. Steuben County did, I think Tompkins did, anyway, and that legislation went through the state in 2007 or 2008. And I've talked to many people about this, but I'm mentioning it now, here, because if any of you have spouses or yourselves are Cold War vets, we need to get behind and get this county to do something. And I don't know if you can put a bug in anybody's ear. I just think it's very unfair. And I know all these municipalities and whatnot need revenue, but it's not, I think it's an equity issue. They
Well, what we'll do
serve
is-
their time, you know, they serve.
Yeah, and counties, I know, as you point out, other counties in the
Yeah.
district have.
Steuben did it very quickly.
Yeah, yeah. So what I'll do is I'll talk with Tom Santulli and Donna Drexler, who we have a great relationship with. It's a team approach and see exactly where they're at with it. And if anyone else could reach out and maybe where Chemung County goes.
Well, now Mike said, and Mike,
Yeah, it's been presented to the committee,
legislature?
finance committee legislature, but they haven't done anything with it. You know, as we tell anybody who calls inquiring, contact your county legislator and ask them when they're gonna vote on it. But it hasn't even come up to a vote in the body yet.
Is it a cost issue? Is that what the concern is, or just it's not a priority from the perspective?
I do not know.
Do not know. Well, let's definitely follow up with them.
thank you.
And see
And I
what's-
want to say, you look great.
Oh,
I'm
thank
glad
you.
you're taking care of yourself, you went out and lived with your dad, and you keep on serving.
Amen. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're definitely going to beat 48.
I have a question on the Affordable Care that's coming in, and that has to do with those of us who have primary Medicare, but we have secondary insurance through an employer
Okay.
as retirees. Is there anything in the bill that prevents companies from cutting off their retirees and making them go into the pool to get their own insurance?
You know, I don't know the answer to that question, but let's get a hard answer. Does anyone know that? Anyone? Anyone know that?
No people who know people.
You know people who know people? Is this something the law is enforcing?
I'll ask the
I mean, I can see that coming as a big shock to many of us who depend on
The secondary
drug coverage or
Sure.
something from a former employee. Suddenly, we're going to have to shell
Yeah.
out money.
And in order to comply with the mandate, then I could see the private guys.
We're covered under Medicare.
Medicare, so
but-
you'd be all set.
But this
Yeah.
other policy does a lot of what
Sure.
Medicare doesn't do.
That gap coverage and everything else that's there. I think so. So what we owe you is a response to that, so we'll make sure, and we know how to get a hold of you. I know where you live, right up on, still up on Oaktown over there? Why not?
Yes, sir.
I don't know if we'll stop personally, but we'll track it down. Try to get a clear answer to you. Okay, yeah, all right. So I know we're going to be wrapping up here because I actually have to be back to DC today. I have to drive back today because we're voting tonight. So anything else, go to the order maybe, and then we'll just wrap it up.
I know this is all topic, but when are we going to get the Fed under control of printing money?
It's very concerning to me when we're seeing $85 billion quantitative easing. Now we're going up to potentially quantitative easing 5. It is doing things to our dollar, and it's not a sustainable path. Now I've been very concerned about this issue because how this impacts you all of you, is by that attack on the dollar, the weakening of the dollar. Oil prices, for example, in particular, are greatly influenced by it. So that means higher gas prices at the pump. That's why you're kind of seeing that 350, 380 type of number, in my opinion, to a great deal. And that impacts everybody day to day. That's everybody in this room, anybody who drove here today. So I've asked the Fed, how are we going to end this monetary policy? And they say they have a plan. Bernanke was very clear. Well, don't worry about it. We got a plan. I'm very confident we can ease it off slowly, and there won't be any ramifications to it. I talked to some very smart individuals saying, once this happens, once they ease off of this monetary policy, you got a stock market now breaking 15,000, and there's really, in my opinion, except for the energy sector in America, the foundations, the economic data, why that market's responding the way it is to 15,000. Very concerning. A lot of people point to the fact that it's this easy money coming out of
It's
DC.
the money that Bernanke's pumping.
And once you pull that foot off the gas pedal, and that market tanks, and a panic erupts, those are to me, we keep asking the question and saying, you need to stop this, because the further we go, the correction is going to be that much bigger to deal with. And so we're going to continue to advocate for that, but obviously they do their own thing, and they're getting to that point where it's very dangerous.
I have a 4-year-old. What does she have to look forward to?
Yeah. No, it's a legitimate point. Well, I appreciate everyone coming out. Please stay. We're here till noon. And all of these people, I want to thank you all for coming, because this is what it's all about, this partnership, this team, teaming together to see what we can do to get you answers and to get you the benefits that you've earned. And we want to continue. Meryl.
If I can speak on behalf of the older people here, thank you for setting this up. And congratulations on being in better shape.
Thank you very much.
It's a great message.
I appreciate it. We're on the right path. And one last thing, I did want to, the supervisor from the town of Big Flats came in, Teresa Dean. Thank you for hosting us. And
My pleasure.
anything you'd like to say?
No, actually, I came a little late, so if anybody has questions for Big Flats, I'm more than willing to stick around and answer those questions for you. And the one question, we have also asked that of the
Oh,
county.
you have, yeah.
Yes, so I made a note of it, and I will also follow up.
Well, I spoke with the assessor years ago. He said it depends on the county.
And we have asked them about it.
Okay, great.
So I will again.
Keep asking.
Well, thank you very much, Rose. Thank you all for coming. Please stay. Thank you. I came in a little late, but these are all over the
My question